there, it's Nikki with Thrive Bodywork in Alexandria, Virginia, coming at you again with another video to discuss structural integration. And when you begin to shift your thinking from that sort of incomplete, two-dimensional bone, muscle, if this then only this linear model of the human body, with which we're all very familiar, and start to become aware of the more complete three-dimensional, goo-filled spider web with the bones and muscle fibers floating in it, fascial matrix model of the body, other ways of thinking will kind of come along for the ride and will give you a more complete sense of how you move and work. The first one, okay, first of all, I want to talk about the difference between posture, movement, and structure, okay? The fascial matrix is the organ of posture. And the definition of posture is our relationship to gravity at any given moment, okay? So right now, I'm in a posture. This is a posture. This is a posture. This is a posture, right? It doesn't matter where I am, as long as I am engaging in gravity, I am in a posture. Now, muscles are the organs of movement. They're the things that move my fascia, that they activate, they light up, and they move my fascia to get into a different posture or position, okay? But muscles are not there to hold us in gravity. They are not there to hold us in place, okay? Now, bones are the organs of structure. They're the things that are needed to give our body kind of its general outline shape, but it's still, they are, again, remember, they're suspended in the fascial matrix. Those hanging skeletons in our doctor's offices are only hanging because they're strung together. If we cut those strings, they're a puddle of bones on the floor. So they're just there to give some general structure to the body. But it really is the fascial matrix that holds us in posture. And so I just really want to make that clear. Put that on the back burner for a second. I want to kind of circle back to what we call cylinders, okay? In structural integration, we think of the bodies as a series of cylinders nestled in and attached to one another, kind of like Russian nesting dolls. I look at it as basically we're squishy tin men, okay? The Tin Man. So I call it the oil drum of the torso. You can see here how we've got one complete leg cylinder, we've got a 4-leg cylinder and a thigh cylinder, and you put them together and they're like, a complete cylinder. The arms are the same thing. So this is a much more accurate representation of what we are, okay? Now, put that on the back burner for a second. The second important change relates to what I was reminding you with the organ of posture. I call it electrifying the fence, okay? And I call it that because if you've ever been on a farm and you've seen those electric fence wires that they use to keep animals where animals are kept, if the fence isn't on, there's kind of a droopiness to the wires, right? But the second you turn it on and electrify it, send electricity through it, the fence kind of springs to attention and there's an alertness and a presence about it. Well, the same thing happens to our fascial matrix. When our fascia is being lazy, and it will be, especially when we're not used to thinking about using it this way or having it be part of what's keeping us upright, we are now then relying on the muscles and the bones to hold us in gravity, and it's not their job, and they get really mad, which is why we get ligament tears, muscle tears, fatigue, just all of so much of that pain that we experience is because we're missing a whole organ and we're not using a whole organ. And then it is because it's the one that really tells everything else where to go, and nothing else can be healthy if it's not healthy. Things just really go awry very, very quickly. So if we kind of put these two things together, the reason I'm talking about them together is when we go to move, if we can think about electrifying the fence of the fascial matrix inside a complete cylinder of, a limb or our torso or whatever, we can start to use our bodies more efficiently and elegantly. So let me demonstrate here. Okay, so here I am. I'm going to do some movements to demonstrate this cylinder and electrifying the fence idea. Now, it's also important to remember that when the fence is electrified, the bones are able to float better, okay? If the fence isn't electrified, our bones will tend to kind of collapse in on themselves. And this is where a lot of ligament and joint pain comes from. It's because we're asking the bones to hold us up. And so that idea of electrifying the fence before we go to move, it allows the bones and the muscle fibers to be better floating inside the matrix, which actually allows them to move much more elegantly and efficiently, and actually allows the muscle fibers to get a lot stronger, a lot faster. So let's say that I'm going to do a squat, okay? Now, a squat at the end of the day is a leg movement. So I want to make sure that my entire leg is doing the movement. We get these dead zones inside our fascial matrix. And so then we get these parts that are working too hard because we've got these other parts that are working less hard, and we're really only using sort of half of our leg, or not even half of our leg, to do all of these movements, which is, you know, adds to the twist, if you remember the twisted bed sheet from the first video. So before I do a squat, I go very, very slowly when I do these things, especially at first, and I stand here and I make sure that my fence is electrified. And for whatever reason, our bodies respond really well to putting our hands on it. So I can look here and it's like, okay, that was being lazy. That part was being lazy. So I can turn that part off a little bit. There, that's being lazy. And then I include the glutes as part of the legs, especially for squats. So I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that my glutes are on. But we need that entire cylinder to be activated. And now I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna make sure that the whole time that whole cylinder is being activated, and I don't have to worry about which muscles are on. They're all on and they're all able to move us because they're floating properly in the cylinder, okay? And so now I'm here and I'm gonna push the ground away and I'm gonna stand up and then I'm gonna come back down, and that tried to get a little lazy, so I'm gonna put my hand there to activate it. I'm gonna squat, and the whole time I'm being very aware of my cylinder moving and my cylinder being active fully, okay? If you've done a squat, if you've just done, 20 reps and only your quads hurt or only your glutes hurt, you've done it wrong. And that means that you're only using part of that leg cylinder to do the movement, and that's gonna cause an imbalance, that's gonna cause a twist, and it's eventually gonna lead to joint pain and discomfort and injury. So, hopefully that makes some sense. If you have any questions, add them in the comments. My website is www.thrivealexandria.com. Hopefully I'll see some of you soon. And if not, have a great day. Electrify the fence, think of the cylinders, and move better. Take care.